Okay, you know the feeling. It is late on a Sunday night, maybe 11:47.
Mhm.
You're lying there, just staring at the ceiling,
Yeah.
and you're running through that mental list of all the things you know you should be doing, but you aren't.
That is a powerful moment of internal conflict, a familiar one for a lot of people.
A very familiar one. Maybe it's that price increase you've, like, intellectually committed to for months.
Right.
Or maybe it's finally building that simple, automated client follow-up system that just sits unfinished in your drafts folder.
Or having that conversation, that difficult, necessary conversation with an underperforming team member that you've postponed again.
Exactly. And look, this gets to the core problem we're tackling today. If you run an established service business, you are almost certainly highly educated.
Oh, for sure. You've read the books, you've attended the webinars.
You've optimized your systems on paper, the information.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. The real gap, the canyon costing you time and money, isn't between ignorance and education.
No.
It is strictly between knowing and doing.
And we are calling this the accountability gap. For established service businesses, we're talking consultants, specialized contractors, professional practices. This isn't just a point of frustration.
Right.
Our sources confirm this gap is a systemic flaw, one that's costing these businesses, well into six figures annually. It's like a silent leak in the hull of an otherwise really well-designed ship.
And accountability, that's such a loaded term, isn't it? We tend to view it through this lens of blame or punishment.
Yeah, like someone's waiting to catch you making a mistake.
Right. But the source material reframes this beautifully. It says, accountability isn't a stick. It is the structure that transforms good intentions into completed actions.
Think of it as infrastructure. It's the intentional system you put in place that makes doing the necessary, difficult thing more likely than avoiding it. And it really requires an identity shift.
An identity shift. How so?
You stop defining yourself as someone who knows what they should do, which, by the way, is where most successful people get stuck.
Right. The smartest person in the room trap.
Exactly. And you start identifying as someone who does what they committed to do. That shift from being the planner to being the executor. I mean, that's where all the profit and freedom actually reside.
So let's establish the scale of this execution problem, because this isn't just about, the lone business owner struggling with motivation.
Not at all. This is a global, predictable failure pattern.
Okay.
The failure to execute strategy is endemic across all organizational sizes. It suggests the breakdown points are systemic, not just personal flaws.
Okay, so you have data on this.
We do. Look at this external data we pulled. Harvard Business Review research found that, on average, companies deliver only 63% of the financial performance their strategies promise.
63%. So that's nearly 40% of planned revenue just lost.
Lost in the execution gap. It just evaporates between the whiteboard and the balance sheet.
Wow. And the people at the top, they know what's happening.
They know it. McKinsey surveys reveal that a staggering 74% of executives lack confidence that their company's most important transformative strategies will actually succeed.
Everyone is planning, but deep down, they don't believe it's going to get done.
Exactly. So the question becomes, why? I mean, if the strategy is sound and the people are smart, why do these traditional internal systems for accountability fail so predictably?
Our sources point to three specific breakdown points. I'll start with what is often the most personal one: isolation.
If you are the business owner, you're trying to hold yourself accountable. You are, in effect, trying to perform surgery on yourself.
That's a great way to put it. You negotiate with yourself, you rationalize your own excuses, and you always lose.
You always lose because you cannot see your own blind spots. You're just too close to the process to be an objective enforcer.
And that leads directly into breakdown point number 2,
Mm.
the absence of real stakes. When you write a goal in a journal, or when you simply tell yourself to try harder, there is like zero external consequence for inaction. The accountability gap thrives when missing a commitment costs you nothing.
That is the core psychological barrier. Your brain is just wired for short-term comfort. So if the pain of procrastination, avoiding the price increase, delaying the hard conversation, is less than the pain of the consequence for failing.
Your brain will always choose avoidance.
Every single time, you need a real price, financial, social, or emotional attached to making that excuse.
And the third failure point is It's an insidious one. It's the task focus versus the outcome
Oh,
focus.
this one's huge.
So many traditional accountability systems just track activities. Did you spend an hour on marketing? Did you make 10 discovery calls?
Right.
You can check every single box on that list and still find that your revenue problem next quarter is exactly the same.
It's the illusion of progress. It feels good. Real accountability doesn't care if you made 10 calls, it tracks outcomes.
Did profit margin improve? Did conversion rates tick up?
Were you actually able to move closer to the life you designed your business for? This gap between intention and action. There's a researcher, Dr. Timothy Peichel, who studies procrastination.
Okay.
He describes it as the quintessential breakdown of self-control. It's a cognitive process problem, not a knowledge problem.
That distinction is so critical.
Yeah.
So, okay, we know the scale and the failure points.
Yeah.
How does someone listening right now diagnose if this gap is costing them money?
We've distilled three really clear telltale signs that the accountability gap is active and draining energy from your business right now.
Okay, what's sign number one?
Sign number one is you know your numbers, but you don't check them.
Oof.
You can recite your conversion rate, your profit margin, all the metrics that matter most, but the dashboard sits untouched. The spreadsheet that holds the honest truth hasn't been updated in 3 weeks.
That moment of avoidance is it's so powerful. You know the truth is waiting in the data, but avoidance feels easier because checking it might reveal something deeply uncomfortable.
Exactly. That you're not as profitable as you should be, or that the new strategy isn't working yet.
Okay, what's sign number two?
Sign number two is that your to-do list recycles. I mean, look back at your task list from a month ago. Are the same critical priority items?
Update pricing. Build that onboarding system.
Hire that key person. Are they
Right.
just migrating from list to list?
Yeah, those are what I'd call ghost tasks. They're never urgent enough to complete, but they're never unimportant enough to just delete.
And they just sit there, adding this incredible mental weight that is often heavier than the actual labor of doing the task itself.
So true. And the third sign.
And finally, sign number three. You start strong, then fade. New initiatives launch with a ton of enthusiasm, a new marketing campaign, a new follow-up protocol.
Week one is great.
Week one is great, week two is decent. By week three, the momentum is gone, the old patterns are back, and the new system is basically gathering dust.
The initial rush of motivation is not a substitute for missing structure.
It's not, never.
Okay, let's run a quick self-assessment for everyone listening. An accountability audit, focused on those key failure points of isolation and stakes. Be honest with yourself.
Okay.
First question. Who in your life has explicit earned permission to ask you uncomfortable, penetrating questions about your business decisions?
And by that, we mean questions that might expose your rationalizations.
Right, and this cannot be your spouse who has a vested interest in protecting your feelings.
Yeah.
It can't be an employee who is dependent on you.
If the answer is no one, that's a pretty clear diagnosis of isolation.
A huge red flag. Okay, here's the second one. The financial litmus test.
This one gets to the heart of the stakes problem.
If someone offered you $10,000 to complete your current top 3 business priorities this week, the ones recycling on your list, could you do it? For almost every established business owner, the answer is an immediate and resounding yes.
Of course, yeah.
And if you can complete those tasks for $10,000 this week, then time and knowledge are not the constraint.
Stakes are the constraint.
Exactly. You are capable. You just lack the external structure and pressure to choose the discomfort of action over the comfort of avoidance.
And that brings us right to the solution. We need to build the infrastructure that guarantees execution. We call this the accountability bridge.
The accountability bridge.
Okay. It requires 3 interconnected components working together to finally get you from knowing to doing.
So what's the first component?
The first is commitment architecture. This is where we stop relying on these vague intentions. The enemy of execution is ambiguity.
So saying I'll work on marketing this week is basically useless.
It is. It's
And-
useless. Commitment architecture transforms that vague goal into something specific, visible, and time-bound. It structures the commitment so precisely that it's almost impossible to wiggle out of.
It's less of a goal and more of an operating instruction.
It's a perfect way to put it.
So give us an example. How does that translation work?
Okay, so instead of the vague, I'll work on marketing, a powerful commitment architecture would state, I will draft and schedule 3 past client reactivation emails by Thursday at noon,
Okay. Specific and time-bound.
and I will send a screenshot of the completed scheduled drafts to my peer partner immediately upon completion.
Ah. So precision removes the wiggle room, and visibility creates the external stake.
You got it. Which leads us to component number 2, which directly addresses that $10,000 audit question, consequence design.
Okay, this is where I think people start to push back a little. They say, wait, isn't that just using fear to manage a business? Doesn't that create a toxic, stressful environment?
It's a real question, but the structure here is about self-management, not staff management. It's about aligning your own incentives with action. The consequence is necessary because it harnesses the power of loss aversion.
Right, the behavioral economics principle.
Exactly. We know that people are far more motivated to avoid losing $100 than they are to gain $100.
So the designed consequence has to hurt, more than the discomfort of just doing the work.
Precisely. It needs to tap into a deeper cognitive driver than simple profit. It could be financial, like that donation to a cause you strongly oppose.
Yeah.
It could be social, like publicly acknowledging you failed to meet the commitment in front of a respected peer group. The pain of image loss is powerful.
Or it could be opportunity-based.
Right, like losing access to a valued mastermind or coaching resource. The consequence provides the emotional friction required to choose action.
So we have the specific commitment and we have the stakes if we fail. But that structure will still fade if it's just treated as a one-time event.
Correct. Which is why the third piece is rhythm creation.
Okay.
Accountability has to become the operating system of your business. It needs a consistent, predictable rhythm that supports and enforces the architecture and the consequences. It has to be ongoing, not episodic.
What kind of rhythm are we talking about here? Because a quarterly review isn't enough, but, daily micromanagement is way too much.
The required cadence is layered. It involves weekly check-ins, where you focus narrowly on commitments and obstacles.
Okay.
Then, monthly deep dive reviews, where you analyze the outcomes. Did the strategy actually move the needle? And finally, quarterly recalibrations of the overall strategy and commitment goals.
Without that consistent rhythm, accountability just becomes another item that recycles on that dreaded to-do list.
Exactly.
Here is a story that brings the sheer financial weight of this gap into sharp focus. We have an example of a restoration company owner. Highly profitable, established business model.
Right.
For 2 full years, he knew, intellectually and financially, that he needed to raise his prices.
2 years.
Wow. He ran the numbers multiple times, confirming he was leaving significant profit on the table. He drafted the increase letter. He even rehearsed the difficult conversation with his largest client.
So he did all the prep work.
All of it. 2 years of knowledge, 0 execution. Why? Because the stakes were all internal.
So what finally changed? It wasn't a new script or a better pricing strategy.
Nope. He engaged component 1, commitment architecture, by making a specific commitment to his peer advisory group. And crucially, he introduced component 2, consequence design.
Okay, what was it?
He placed $500 cash in an envelope, promising it would be donated to a political party he strongly opposed if the price increase letter wasn't physically sent by Friday at 5 p.m.
There it is. The real pain.
The letter went out Thursday. He beat the deadline because that painful consequence, the direct assault on his values via that $500 donation, it hurt demonstrably more than the temporary discomfort of finally having the conversation.
And the outcome was immediate and measurable. Within 90 days, his profit margin increased by a verifiable 18%.
18%.
That's the power of closing the gap. But now we have to translate the cost of that 2-year delay into dollars, because this accountability gap has a price tag most owners never, ever calculate.
Okay, let's do the math. If that increased margin was saving him a conservative $3,000 per month in lost profit, the 2 years of delay, the 24 months he spent knowing what to do, cost him a total of $72,000.
$72,000. And that money wasn't lost because of a bad economy or a flawed product.
No, it was lost because the structure to ensure execution was completely missing.
That owner wasn't freed by learning a new pricing tactic. He was freed by finally applying the accountability bridge to knowledge he had possessed for 24 months.
Now, a quick check on who this framework is for. This is designed for the established service business with a proven model who needs execution.
Right. If you're pre-revenue, you need discovery. If you're in crisis mode, just fighting for payroll, you need triage. This isn't that.
No.
But if you know what your next level is, and you are failing to reach it because you keep negotiating with yourself, this framework, architecture, consequence, and rhythm is the only way forward.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Our sources paint 2 very clear pictures of the future. In one version, 6 months from now, you're still carrying that same list of unfinished intentions. The weight of should-do continues to follow you into every quiet moment. That Sunday night ceiling staring persists.
In the other version, you've put the structure in place. The decisions are made, the actions are complete, and the revenue is real. You are not lying awake thinking about what you should do because you have already done it.
The freedom comes not from learning one more thing.
No, it comes from finally acting on what you already know.
That is the difference structure makes. It isn't about your intelligence or your effort level. It's all about the architecture you design around your commitments.
At the end of the day, knowledge without accountability is just expensive entertainment. It's an intellectual luxury you can no longer afford.
So the question for you today is this. What specific commitment architecture, what consequence design, or what rhythm are you willing to put in place today to cross that accountability bridge and make that freedom a reality?